Hey folks, it's the devil. I'm back. After the election, I thought I'd make my opinions known. Not that a lot of people see me, but that will change soon enough. I'm a patient man. I've been around 6,000 years. What's a few more years? Nothing. Okay. Now, again, the election doesn't really do much for me. It doesn't impact me in any way. But it is curious. People are all upset because Kamala Harris didn't win. And those that voted for Trump are ecstatic, I guess. I'm not sure why. He's clearly a corrupt man, and you'll probably regret your decision. But be that as it may, people think that somehow Trump won an amazing campaign and he broadened his support. And I'm here to tell you that that's just not true. All right, so let's do a little numbers here. This year, 2024, Trump, so far, has 72,742,687 votes. And that was 50.9% of the electorate. Harris had 68,060,417 votes. And out of the electorate, she had 47.5%. So Trump clearly won the popular vote. But if you look back to 2020, his total of 72 million is much less than his 2020 result. In 2020, Trump won 74,223,975. So those were his votes. He took 46.8% of the electorate. The interesting thing is that Biden had 81,283,501 votes, and he took 51.37% of the vote. My point is that Trump underperformed his 2020 election by about 1.5 million or so. I know they're still counting, but he's never going to make up that deficit. Whatever's left is, hundreds of thousands at best. So he might knock it down and still be 1 million short, which I think is interesting. So Trump lost some support. He lost 1 million, maybe 1.5 million people. They voted for Harris, perhaps. They voted for someone else, or they didn't vote at all. But somehow he lost support, even though he got 50.9% of the electorate. He still had less than he had in 2020. So whatever messaging went out that you shouldn't vote for Trump may have had some effect on perhaps about 1.5 million votes or voters. But the real news is how Harris performed. Had she done as well as Biden, she would have easily won. But she fell short by just under 13 million votes. 13 million votes she fell short. It's not like those 13 million voters went to Trump. That's not true. It's not like they went to a third-party candidate. That's clearly not true. They hardly even got 1 million votes. They didn't get anything. So there were 13 million people who decided not to vote at all. Somehow they just couldn't decide between the narcissist Trump and his evil ways. And Harris, who is a very dedicated prosecutor and senator and vice president. She has all sorts of skills, experience. She was a great debater. She wiped the floor with Trump. She had more crowds. Everybody was so enthusiastic, and yet she fell 13 million votes short. It's astounding. I don't know why. They decided they just couldn't vote for either of them. He's too corrupt and she's too ethnic, I guess, or she's too much of a woman. I don't know what the real reason is, but 13 million people stayed home. So that's a far more compelling discussion to have than saying how Trump dominated. He didn't. He got about the same support, a little bit less, a million less, which I know isn't much when you have 72 million, but still, it's very telling. Some support was lost. Trump lost some support, but Harris could not get Biden's support. Not because they went somewhere else, but because they didn't show up. That's very compelling to me. That a Joe Biden voter just couldn't vote for Harris. There's your news flash. There's your story. All this idea that it was the economy or it was something else, it just isn't true. People didn't vote. You don't not vote because you really know that something is bothering you, like the economy. And I'm surprised the abortion issue didn't take off. And I'm surprised that more women didn't support Harris. All those Trump voters, those Trump women. She should have easily been able to convince that it was in their best interest to vote for her, but it didn't happen. So, I mean, who knows why they stayed home, but that's really your news story. That's really something worth looking into. All this other ideas, it just doesn't matter. What was their motivation? Why did people stay home? Maybe next time they won't. Okay. I've done my civic duty. Thanks. Like, subscribe, repost. I'll be back.